We live in a world where we are constantly bombarded with information. For better or worse, it seems as if the media and popular culture have shaped the way we view the world, the people around us, and in some cases, ourselves. When looking at issues of gender equality, this could not be more true. I've always been amazed at how the media has portrayed women, both historically and in the more modern sense. Women in America and around the globe are constantly told, either directly or indirectly, how they should look, behave, dress, what social roles they should play, and what occupations are appropriate for them to pursue. It seems to be a never-ending cycle, and it occurs to me that this pattern of constantly bombarding young girls with these images and stereotypes has begun to do more harm than we previously thought. My outlook on the roles of women and their status in society was shaped largely by the influence my mother had on me as a child, and as a young adult. She recently passed away, and in the wake of her death, I have been thinking a lot about her legacy and how her life was a reflection of how a person can transcend the stereotypes and the roles that society lays out for them, and in doing so, become something great. Let's start at the beginning. My maternal grandparents have an interesting backstory. Around the time my grandmother was born, it was not uncommon for girls to have a marriage arranged for them at a young age. My grandmother was no exception. She was married to my grandfather, a 20-something-year-old military officer, at the age of 13. She was never afforded the opportunity to attend school or acquire an education, as old Pakistani custom decreed that women fulfilled domestic roles and belonged at home. As a consequence, my grandmother is uneducated for the most part, though she did teach herself to read her native tongue of Urdu somewhere along the line. Lucky for me, my grandfather was very forward-thinking for his time, and he wanted all of his children, regardless of their gender, to be afforded an education and for them to make something of themselves. My mother, who spent most of her youth on a military base, decided that she wanted to be a doctor and change the legacy of her family. She told me she wanted to preserve life and not take it as her ancestors had. My mother always told me how she used to look at my grandmother and wonder what she could have done with her life if only she had empowered herself with an education. The knowledge is power mantra was somewhat of a daily saying in my house when I was growing up, and it's not surprising considering the crazy journey my mother made to get to where she wanted to be in life. My parents emigrated to the United States in 1983, and in that year, my mother was the only foreign female medical graduate to be granted admission and a residency in the United States. My parents moved to Trenton, New Jersey, where my mother had earned her residency. After her residency in New Jersey, my mother decided she wanted to move to Whittier, California, where her eldest brother, an orthopedic surgeon, had started his own small medical practice. My parents moved to Whittier in 1986, and in 1987, my elder sister was born. My mother somehow managed to raise my sister, maintain a household, start her own medical practice, and be on staff at 4 different hospitals simultaneously. By 1991, the year that I was born, my mother had already established a successful family practice here in Whittier, and in her free time would volunteer her services at women's health clinics throughout the greater Los Angeles area. My mother was always very cause-driven, and her greatest passion in life was helping others. In her life, she helped to build over 40 schools in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Kashmir for young girls so that they might have a chance at a better life in the same way that she did. In addition to help build schools, my mother also set up several free women's health clinics in low-income areas of Los Angeles. She was also the first female chief of staff in the history of Whittier Hospital, and the only doctor in the history of the institution to have an area dedicated to her as a memorial. In addition to all of this, my mother was awarded the Tamgha-e-Imtiaz in 2012, the equivalent of the Medal of Honor in Pakistan and the highest civilian award offered by the Pakistani government to citizens who have done extraordinary acts of charity and work for the betterment of Pakistan. I take great pride in my mother's legacy, a legacy that champions the rights of women and the overcoming of social biases and stereotypes against women.